All right, welcome back for another episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video series that I do for comicbookinvest.com where I talk about those books that are still kind of tucked away in those cheap boxes, those dollar bins, those discount boxes, wherever you're doing your cheap comic book hunting, whether it be flea markets, your LCS, used bookstores, Goodwills, half price books, wherever you do your digging. These are some things you might still be able to dig out of those boxes based off of some of the recent news, rumors, things going on in the comics, TV, movies, etc. Hopefully you're still enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. We did wrap up our 12 days of Christmas, so I did give away all of those 12 prize packs, but we do have to announce one more giveaway related to that. I did a J. Scott Campbell unboxing just this week, and you know what? I got to announce who the winner is of that. I asked you guys just to simply comment on your favorite artists so I can put them possibly in my list to do for hidden gems. So we're just going to do that right now at the start of the show, get it out of the way. So this way the winner can see what they won, and then I can get their info so I can send them off that, what was it? I think it was that J. Scott Campbell, the Black Cat. Or no, not Black Cat. The Spidey book. I got it over here somewhere. Which one did I decide to give away? I don't know. It's around here somewhere. I think I put it aside. But that all said, it's going to get mailed out to the winner. And yeah, let's just see who that's going to be. So as we move through this, I got to shift on over to our 12 Days of Christmas. Here, I'm going to make this larger so you guys can see. All of the entrants here are on the side, and you can see I put the artist that they suggested, the first name of the artist. Some of you guys gave me multiples, which I do appreciate, because some of them I was able to pick out of the list that you gave me and put them on my to-do list. But I just put the first one that you listed as your pick for this, so you guys can see you're all in there. Yeah, for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to get this going and see who that winner is. So we're going to go. Oh wait, you know what? I want to shuffle a few times. So we're going to shuffle it up. So this way I'm just going to run this once. I'm not going to do this more than once. We did get 34 entries for this one, and we're going to see who that winner is going to be. And I'm going to go full screen and spin it. So good luck to all of you. And like I said, I like giving this stuff away. I got plenty of stuff here, so I don't mind sharing in the wealth. Plus it's Christmas, so in the Christmas spirit, let's do some giving and bring the community together. And our winner is Mike Carlano, who picked Todd McFarlane. Yes, Todd McFarlane is a favorite of many, just like Jim Lee was a popular name given as well. So, Mike, just if you see this, hopefully you see this. I'll also announce this on IG in case I don't hear from you in the next day or so. Just hit me up on Instagram if you have it through direct message with your address, and I'll mail that book off to you. If you don't have Instagram, comment down below so this way I know to give you the that you're going to email me, because the email address I don't check very often is Rennavision1 at gmail.com. So do I have a little thingy for that? I don't know if I do. No, I got pumpernickel here. Yeah, I don't have that, but I do have pumpernickel. If you guys remember, that was one of our secret words for the giveaway. But Rennavision1 at gmail is the channel email. So if you have to send it there, you can send it there as well. And with that, that's all I got for the giveaway. Congrats, Mike. Thank you all for entering and giving me those suggestions. And if you want to see what books I have for you this week, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so now that we got the giveaway out of the way, let's get into the regular show and see what we got here. Going to start off with our first little tidbit. Coming up in the comics, we're getting a new Warlock series, Warlock Rebirth. So Adam Warlock is coming back. I mean, we know we're getting him in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, so it's not surprising that the comics are trying to put him front and center once again to kind of pop, to take advantage of this extra publicity and notoriety that he's going to gather being in the movie. I know there's a lot of it's pretty divisive the way that he looks. Maybe not even divisive. A lot of people don't like the way that Will Poulter is pulling off the gold face paint, but I'm still going to be open-minded and see how this turns out. But that all said, Warlock Rebirth is going to return Ron Mars and Ron Lim back together again to give us this new Warlock saga. So this new miniseries. These two teamed up with the Silver Surfer Rebirth. So now we're getting a Rebirth here with Warlock as well. And there's plenty of options we can go with here for some Warlock books because we're not going first appearance. We all know that's ages ago. A lot of options. Well, I should say a lot of options. There's a few options of what you can go with as far as early Warlock appearances. But if you like Warlock and you want to dig some cheap stuff, here's some stuff you should keep an eye out for. First off, we'll go with Warlock and the Infinity Watch. You could do the Chronicles one as well, but this one came first. Longer running series. I think it ran like 37, 38 issues. Look out for that final issue because that one's also worthwhile. This one's not hard to find. This one came out on the heels of the Infinity Gauntlet saga, so there was plenty of these. This was a popular thing, popular title, character that, again, they were trying to put front and center in Marvel back in those days, back in the 90s, so this one has a decent and heavy print run, I should say. So number one, coming in the aftermath of the Infinity Gauntlet, we're getting the collector's item first issue for Warlock and the Infinity Watch. Basically, Warlock takes all of the Infinity Gems, splits it up to amongst his crew. Drax gets one, Gamora gets one, Pip the Troll, etc., and splits up all the Infinity Gems amongst a crew. So this way, not any one person is holding all of them at once, and they are meant to safeguard said gem. And he keeps the soul gem there on the old dome. Now, this book, again, there's plenty of these out there, so you won't be surprised to find this in those dollar boxes. You also won't be surprised to find this out there selling for cheap. It could sell for as cheap as 99 cents at auction, like $6 down below there, and then you can see a lot of a few issues got somebody $20. So this is not an expensive book that has been out there selling these last couple of months, and even available copies can go anywhere from like $5 to $10 for a single issue. Then you can see there's a pair, so somebody has the newsstand and the direct in case you like collecting both. Somebody's got one at auction starting at $23. So it's not a super expensive book, but it's just a fun one to go and dig out. And there are plenty of them. Like I said, plenty of them out there. I flipped past this a number of times. Not a lot of issues in this run that are really worth checking out unless you just want to read them. And there's some decent stories. And there's some Thanos stuff coming in. It was like 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that range. There's a nice little storyline in there. But for the most part, yeah, it's a so-so title, I guess you would say. But those final issues are harder to find and do okay on the aftermarket. So keep an eye out in those higher 30s as far as numbering goes. So that's one option for this Warlock news. The other option is we can kind of pivot over to one of my personal favorites, Ron Lim. So we have Ron Mars writing and Ron Lim doing the art. And Ron Lim did one of my favorite runs on Silver Surfer. This is one of the two titles that really got me into collecting comics. It was Silver Surfer, drawn by Ron Lim, and X-Men drawn by Jim Lee. Those are the two things that really set me up to be the collector that I am today. And Ron Lim started on Silver Surfer on issue 15. Pretty cool cover here as well with Fantastic Four. I dig it. And with the recent recent rumors that Fantastic Four could be a Silver Surfer team up, hey, maybe this is something that they might be looking back towards. I don't know, but it's still a pretty cool cover. Ron Lim's first on this run. He did like 75 issues of the 140, just under 150 issues of Silver Surfer. So he did like half the run. So I think of Silver Surfer, I think of Ron Lim, and this is where he started doing the art on it. I like artists first. Maybe we'll do Ron Lim one of these days in a retrospective, quick artist retrospective, but keep an eye out for this one. It can still sell for pretty cheap. It's out there. Look, auction, $1.25. There's a lot that was only for $7.50, and then I buy it now for $5. So this is still much like many of the Silver Surfer books in this run. Most of them are relatively cheap, and it's a pretty decent run to go out there and collect. And you probably could find most of them in those cheap boxes, and then you have to pay a little extra for a couple. But the bulk of it you can probably find in those dollar bins. Then you can see some copies available out there in that kind of like $8 to $12 kind of range. Once again, not an expensive book. It's not going to make you rich if you find it. Just kind of a cool book for you to go and dig out if you're interested in Ron Lim as an artist. And like I said, I'm a fan. Where Ron Lim continued on and off for a while. No, I shouldn't say on and off. He continued doing a few issues here, throughout this run once he started 15, but he was really, by the time we get to this issue here, which is issue number 42, we're right in the midst of prepping for the Infinity Gauntlet saga, Jim Starlin was writing this for a while now, and this was kind of an issue where they started to do that handoff, I think, between Starlin and Mars because they're both credited as writing this. So I think right in this time, they're kind of doing a handoff for Ron Mars to take over the Silver Surfer title, and Ron Lim was still doing the art at this time. So issue 42 is kind of the first, I guess you would say, with Ron Mars writing Silver Surfer and working with Ron Lim here together on the Surfer title. I know this is Surfer, not Adam Warlock, but just putting the pieces together because a lot of the cosmic stuff does tie together. So this is again another book you can find for pretty cheap. You know, $3, best offer on like 5 something, not expensive, even available copies, $6 to like $10. It's not a pricey book, and as I said, you can most likely find this in those cheap boxes because this is not you know, an Infinity Gauntlet key or anything like that. It's just, you know, just an issue in the run. Again, it's a run that I was a big fan of. It got me into this, so I'm always going to look back on this one fondly. And again, they continue. Ron Lim continued with Ron Mars for a good stretch. I think they've done at least like 50 some issues together. I think once you figure you pick up 42, I think they continued all the way on through 92. So it's basically like 52 issues, right? I mean, almost. I think there was like 1 or 2 that they kind of missed, but because Mars didn't actually take completely over until I think 49, and then he didn't write issue 50. I think that was still Starlin because it tied in with the Gauntlet, and yeah, whatever. Almost 50 issues together. Let's just get to that. Anniversary issues like that. Hall of Oil 75 there in the middle. Fun one to find. You got the Tyrant. You got first appearance of Morgue. A few of those other heralds mixed into this run as well, like with those issues like 82 and I think 68 or 69 is another one. There's a few you want to look for. They're kind of fun to dig out. And then their final issue together was on issue 92. That's the last Ron Lim Surfer for at least this run. And like I said, he came back and they did Silver Surfer Rebirth together. But this is the kind of run you kind of keep an eye out for. But in the midst of this run, again, since we're talking about Adam Warlock, we did get some Adam Warlock appearances, and this is kind of a fun one because this ties directly with Infinity Gauntlet. It's a crossover. I love this cover. Thanos holding Surfer because he kind of kept Surfer around to kind of taunt him while he was, you know, taking over and controlling the entire universe. Surfer was kind of just like a spectator. He kind of kept him as like almost like a lapdog. It was kind of cool. So the universe according to Thanos, this issue 55. They were double shipping. You see, it's late September. They were double shipping during this time because it was a great event. It was one of my favorites. So I'm a little disappointed it's already over in the movies, but it was a fun ride. I will say that. And again, in here you can see these two teaming up. So hey, maybe we get something. This is where we get a little bit of a connection. I don't know. I'm just putting this out there. That we can see that this is where these two Ron Lim and Ron Mars have worked on Adam Warlock in the midst of their run on Surfer. So even though I'm talking a lot about Surfer, they did work on Warlock as well. So we'll probably see some more ties together as we go through this. But still, pretty cool issue and one you want to keep an eye out for if you can find it because it does okay. I mean, $5 is not going to make you rich, but it sells for $5. There's a 9.6 that sold for 40, which is pretty cheap. I mean, I might get this for $40, maybe. I don't know. And then available copies you can see anywhere for like $4 to $8. Not a pricey book, but it's a pretty cool issue. If you can find it for cheap, I'd say just grab it just to read it. Grab this whole run just to read them because it's good stuff. And another time that these two crossed over, so we're getting Ron Mars and Ron Lim both working on Adam Warlock because they didn't work on the Warlock runs that I just mentioned at the start. But this issue 87, which crosses over with like some Thor stuff, Blood and Thunder, we're getting here. And they're right there on the cover together. So you got Warlock, Surfer, Mars, Lim working on it. Pretty cool. Getting near, like I said, getting near the end of their run. This is like $2 to $4. You can see that it sells for asking prices. Surprisingly, were 8 to 12. I figured this was going to be $5 and less, but the copies I saw were like 8 to $12. So, all right, if you find it for $1, there you go. You can make a couple dollars, I guess. But just one of those fun little things for you to go out there and kind of like a scavenger hunt. I'm not saying these things are going to be worth money that you're going to tie in directly to anything. I'm just kind of pointing it out that when I'm thinking about that news, these are some books that came to mind and reminded me of some stuff that I want to go back and dig through and read. And maybe you can find this stuff for cheap and go check it out ahead of the new miniseries. I don't know. But with that, we're going to pivot on over to DC for a second. And major Bat family antagonist is on the road to redemption. And if you're not knowing who we're talking about, she's right there. It's Lady Shiva. I've talked about her before. I think I did her on Forgotten Firsts a while back. I think that's where it was because I couldn't find it in Dollar Bin. I didn't think we did this in Dollar Bin, but I think we did it in Forgotten First because her first appearance really isn't a dollar book. But hey, you never know. I'm going to tell you what it is so you keep an eye out for it anyway. But it is Richard Dragon Kung Fu Fighter number 5. And see right there on the front, her name is Lady Shiva. There you go. Her first appearance. There you go, in the Kung Fu times of, what is this, like the 70s? Richard Dragon number 5. And like I said, this really isn't a dollar book, but it's not that expensive. It's kind of come down. This was more expensive months ago, but now you can see copies selling for as low as like $7 to like $15. Credit condition sensitive, so might not get the cleanest of copies for $7, but you can get a copy if you're really interested, apparently, because that's what the cheapest one sold with one bid back at the end of November. Available copies here again, $10 up to like $40 raw. There's some graded copies, there's some nicer copies, there's some more expensive copies. Not much cheaper though than the $10 ask that I could find right now. So that's really kind of the bottom. But this is what we're talking about. If you can somehow luck into this for cheap, this is what you would get out of it. And it is our first. But one you'll probably have a better chance at finding in the dollar boxes is that image that I showed you. And it's a pretty cool cover. This is right before the Archerm run. So it kind of bleeds and blends together a little bit. But this is issue 6. And it's a pretty cool cover there with Lady Shiva on the front. I kind of dig it. So that's why I made it the thumbnail image as well, because I like it. But this is one you could find for cheap. And you can see here, I found one sale that I could point out. Look, $2.45 it sold for. So $2.45. Not $245, $2.45. This is a cheap book. It's not expensive. Asking prices starting at $2. An auction starting at $2. Buy it now for $9. Pretty cool book, not expensive. You can find these books out there for cheap. These DC books, there's plenty of them out there you can dig out. And some of them have some pretty cool covers and some fun little stories inside. So there's a whole long history here with Lady Shiva we can get into. I thought about going that route because where we're going in the comics is that she's kind of reconnect, I guess, with her daughter, Cassandra Cain, who is the one of the Batgirls that we've had over the years. And I think she's going by Orphan now in the current continuity. It can get really confusing. I mean, you go through the Bat corner of the universe alone, there's a lot of characters. So for a guy who works alone, there's an extended Bat family of characters. And here's another one. And on that note of her, again, being Cassandra Cain's mother and trying to reconnect with her, and that she was bred to be like a super assassin, almost like Damian in a way. Let's get into when she has returned in the current run, in the rebirth era of Detective Comics number 950. It's kind of near the start of this rebirth era. We do get the return of Lady Shiva in this issue, and we can see that might be the kind of the beginnings of this road to redemption here. So inside, you can see here Shiva here, she's coming looking for her daughter again, Orphan Cassandra Cain, whatever she's going to go by right now. But still, pretty cool stuff. More stuff happening in those Bat books these days. It's a hard time keeping up reading, but yeah, I'm just trying to stay abreast of all the information. This is a book you can find, especially this early rebirth stuff. You can find these in discount boxes, overstock. You can see here it's selling for $1 to $3. Like it sells for nothing. So get it if you want to read it, check it out. Available copies as well, $1 to like $7 max. This is also has 2 covers, so you can, I don't know, it's kind of small, but in the middle there's a version of the B cover, so you can see the B cover on this title as well. There was kind of a split. Shops could order whatever they wanted, so pick your poison, which cover you like, and that's the one you can go and scoop up. But either way, it's going to be cheap, so keep an eye out for it in those dollar boxes. Moving over to another idea, an article that I was reading, I think it was on CBR. Ant-Man and the Wasp could introduce a key group from Secret Wars. Not the original Secret Wars, the kind of rebooted Secret Wars. The one that I think might be closer to what we actually get when we're getting Secret Wars in the MCU. That said, I don't know if their connection is exactly right. I mean, this character could be a Micronaut. It could just be an oddball character in the Microverse, the Quantum Realm, whatever. It may not be anything. So this is all just random speculation of articles and things that I'm reading out there. It's not my idea. It's not my call on this. Could be right. Could be wrong. I don't know. But it's interesting to say the least. So I'll take a look and I'll keep an eye out for it. But it could be the map makers. Map makers is what they're saying. That character could be one of the map makers, which was a character kind of, or I shouldn't say character, I guess a group kind of introduced in this run of New Avengers. This is the 3rd volume, I believe, in 2013. So issue 6, the Hickman run, introduces this idea of these characters, this group, the map makers. So here you can see it's a real. This is all you're really getting. It's like this small panel in amongst the story, so it's not even really a true first appearance introduction. It's kind of just this tiny little tidbit. Yeah, the panel looks pretty big on the screen here, but on the page, it's not all that big. They talk about them a little bit in the story, but that's all you're really getting. But you are getting it. So, and right there, that is their first. So it is what it is. And this thing, it doesn't sell for a lot, so I'm not telling you it should sell for a lot. I'm just telling you, if you're digging in the boxes, maybe find it for $1 because there's a chance you will. Copy selling $1.45 to like $6. Not expensive. Available copies $1.50 to $3.75. Not expensive. This was a decently printed run at the time because again, it was the event build up for Secret Wars. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see where this ends up going. May not go anywhere, but just a fun book, like I said, to go and pull out. And if it ends up being the map makers, you know how people just love buying first appearances when things get confirmed. I don't know why. FOMO, I guess, takes hold. So try not to get FOMO. Dig for this stuff for cheap. Then it doesn't matter because it only costs you $1, maybe $2 if it's a $2 box. So then you don't have to feel bad that you got bamboozled into just throwing money at some spur of the moment type book that will just not hold its value, like I don't know, a Paul McCartney cover on a Batman and Superman book. That's just a personal opinion. I could be completely wrong, and that book's going to be $1,000 one day. I doubt it, but it is what it is. Just be mindful of your money. It's your money after all, so you got to be responsible for yourself. Don't go listening to people. Even me. I'm telling you not to do stuff, but you don't have to listen to me either. I'm just offering an opinion. Take it for what it's worth. That said, a lot of disappointment the last couple of weeks with Henry Cavill. I'm a fan. I liked him as Superman. I was looking forward to him being Superman once again, actually getting some material to work with. But not only is he not going to be Superman, he's also not going to be The Witcher, Geralt the Witcher. No more Geralt of Rivia, no more Superman. But he is pivoting over to Warhammer. 40,000, 40K, I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm not a gamer. I'm interested. I would play, I think, if somebody would teach me how, but I don't really know how this stuff works. But I'm curious of this Warhammer stuff. And I'm looking forward to checking out this series. So he's going to move over to Amazon and make this series for them. And Amazon has plenty of money to give him a decent budget. We've seen some solid shows with Lord of the Rings, The Boys. I think this could work. So we'll see. He landed on his feet. Didn't take him long. Like I said, I like Cavill. So I'm looking forward to this. So Warhammer. Topher posted an article with all the true firsts. There's a lot of stuff you can go dig out as far as first appearances goes. Might cost you. You're probably not gonna find $1 bins. It's gonna be a little tough to find. Even some of the stuff I'm gonna tell you may be a little harder to find because it's not heavily printed, but it also wasn't very popular. So there's a good chance. I shouldn't say very popular. It wasn't very popular amongst the comic book community as a whole. So some of this stuff is sitting out there in those boxes. And one of the things Topher mentioned was this first boom, kind of like a mini that they had, the Damnation Crusade, 2006. So this was right at the start of Boom getting the IP, the property to start making some comic books. I think it's a 6-issue run and multiple covers on these as well. There's some other options. I'm not going to show you them all, but I will show you. This is issue 1, and then you can see there's another there's a 2, and then we get 5, 6. I'm just giving you a random sampling of some covers here because I don't want to show you them all, but pretty cool stuff. I like that. Like that 2 is kind of my favorite of the bunch, but they're all pretty solid here, and yeah, they do okay. I mean, here's issue 1. Issue 1 again. $10, $8, $4, like individual issues anywhere in like $4 to $10 range for this series. Multiple mini series as well. Just if you find them for cheap, just get them for $1. Give them a read, see if it's good, and then see if you can track down a trade. Some of the trades are kind of expensive too, but individual available. You can see $8, $10, 13. It's still kind of in that same range. So maybe if you find it and you want to sell it, you probably can make a couple of bucks, but it might not really be worth a lot of that effort. But hey, it's up to you what you want to do. Again, it's your money, it's your time. So if you want to go digging to flip, go for it. I used to. It's just a lot of work these days. So I just end up giving most of the stuff away. But I do like going out and hunting it, and I do like buying it. So, whatever. Moving on. Marvel also got the property just like a couple of years ago. This is 2019, 2020, somewhere in that range. So Marvel had the property, and they made, I think, 2 miniseries. But the first one being this Marnius Calgar. And again, I don't know if I'm saying any of this stuff right. Because again, it's not my thing. But this is what we got. 5 issues, I believe this miniseries was. There were some 1 to 25 variants. There's a second print for this first issue as well, and some other variants like the video game variant. Once again, I'm not going to show you all these covers, but I'll show you a few. And the variants will hold for maybe Chasing Ghosts. Maybe I'll do it for next week's Chasing Ghosts. Because I do want to get back to Chasing Ghosts. I know I skipped it this week because I just didn't have time with the holidays. I hope to be able to do it, even though it's still carryover between the holidays. I'm going to try to get back to it next week, and maybe we'll look at those Warhammer 1 in 25s. But there we go. Issue 1, issue 2, issue 3. Pretty cool covers. You see these giant kind of like mech suits. Solid art, I would say, on this. Then we got some more issues here. We got issues 4, and then there's 2 issues 5s right there. There's 2 covers, so you can see on the left you got the regular art cover A, and then you can see the video game variant, which is also really cool. So that's what I'm saying. There's multiple covers all for all these issues as well, and then there's some incentives that we'll get into again maybe next week. But with these, keep an eye out for all of them, and maybe find them in those cheap boxes, because again, Warhammer wasn't a huge property for Marvel. It wasn't a Spider-Man or an X-Men title. So this is kind of stuff a lot of comic shops would just, if it didn't sell, they didn't buy it off the wall that first day, probably just got shoved in a box somewhere. So that's why it's $4 to $9. A lot of these issues just randomly priced, randomly selling, people trying to complete runs probably, and that's the kind of of sales you're getting. But available copies are, again, in that kind of $6 to $9 range, so under $10 for all of these. But if you can build out a set, maybe it's worth it. Maybe you can find them all for cheap. Now, that's what I got as far as that news goes. We're going to follow up a little bit on last week, because we did talk about some Spider characters. And while I'm using this headline and this image as a precursor to do this, we're just really going to look at some more of these cameos that showed up in the Spider-Verse trailer. It's really just a follow-up to that. Not so much tied to the poster here, which we did just get this poster. Pretty cool poster if you see the full thing. And we'll see some more Spidey characters in this movie, including Ben Reilly, 2099, etc. Apparently. But let's get into some of the weird ones once again, because some of these, maybe you find they're first tucked in those cheap boxes. And once again, just because they're showing up in the movie for all of potentially 3 seconds max, could be longer, could be shorter, we don't know yet. Don't go spending a ton of your money. Don't let the market influence you too much and give you FOMO. This is the stuff you look for cheap. So it's kind of cool to add to your collection. And then maybe you flip it and you can sell it to somebody else who just can't wait and doesn't want to go digging themselves. And you can get your $20 off of some rando first appearance. Go ahead. But I'm not telling any of you to do that. I'm not telling any of you to spend your money on the market prices for some of these things, because it's most likely not worth it. They're just going to be quick cameos. It's kind of fun. But that's why this hobby should be fun. And this is the kind of fun stuff I'm telling you about, because I think it should be dug out of those dollar bins, because it is worth it to grab it for $1 or $2 to put to your collection. Not worth spending $30 just because they're going to make some oddball movie maybe later. Maybe not 30. Not to me, but $1 to $2, sure, I'm down. So just don't let that FOMO get a hold of you. Like, oh man, I didn't find it. I got to get one. Do you really need to have it? Maybe, maybe not. That's your decision, but I'm just telling you, keep an eye out for them for cheap, because it's kind of fun, and see where it goes. That said, PSA aside, let's get to Spider Cop. Yeah, we saw Spider Cop on the images last week, but here we go. Spider Cop. I don't know if this is going to be the same Spider Cop. This guy looks like he's directing traffic, and he doesn't have the hat, but right here, we got a Spider Cop kind of, again, directing spider traffic, I guess. And if you want to know the first, well, Spider-Geddon 5, apparently, is credited as being his first appearance. And here you go. It's all of these 2 panels I could find. Both just him in the background. And it's not exactly the same look. You got this huge mustache, too, on the outside of his mask. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Is it the same Spider Cop? Maybe, maybe not. But there you go. But that's all you're getting. I'm showing you. This is what's inside. Like, if you want to go and spend $10 like some people are for this, $10 to $15, just because this character shows up in the background of this panel and is in the background of the movie, I mean, that's okay. It's your $10. You do what you want. I'm saying, okay, well, for $1, sure. It's kind of fun. You got the first Spider Cop, but that's it. And like I said, here's some sale prices. $10 to $17, because people can't wait. I don't know. Don't let that be you. You go find it for $1. Go dig in a box. Even online, you can see there's an auction that's starting at $1. Who knows where it'll end? Then there's copies in that $10 to $11 range. As you saw what's inside. Does this mean this is a must-have comic? This is a key issue? Key? I don't know. I don't think so, but it's fun. And that's what I'm trying to promote. I'm trying to promote fun and collecting. I'm showing you the values because I want you to know where the market is. Because, yes, I pay attention to the market. I do sometimes pay for things. I do pay more and pay a premium. I don't buy everything for $1. But I'm saying a lot of this stuff, that's all you really should be looking for it for. And not really pay much more than that. That's my personal opinion. Again, That's all this stuff is. It's just opinions. You do what you want with the information. But just keep an eye out for cheap. Don't go paying market for this, because it's just a tiny little first appearance of a character that probably will have not a single line. But it is what it is. A couple of more of these. Again, this should be fun. That's what I'm trying to... The point I'm really trying to make here is this should be fun. Comic collecting should be fun, like Captain Spider. Yeah, way down below here in this panel here, we saw what looks like could be Captain Spider, which is Flash Thompson. This kind of version of Spider-Man. You can see it. I mean, he's got a little denim vest thing going down there. But yeah, Captain Spider, which first appeared in the... I think this is the first run of What If, 1978. So this What If number 7. What if someone else besides Spider-Man had been bitten by the radioactive spider? I had this, and then I sold the whole run because I didn't know what I was going to do with them. I got rid of this What If run way too early, because some of these do all right these days. But it was my fault. I got a whole collection for cheap, and got rid of most of them. I think including this one. So I don't know if I have this one anymore. But you can sometimes find these old What Ifs, maybe a little banged up. But again, just for a fun little read, go and check in the boxes. Maybe you find this one, which, doesn't sell for a ton, but could get you anywhere between $3-5 up to $20. Those are recent sales. Asking prices are between $10, $30, $45. So it's really condition sensitive, and really how much you want to spend on this thing. I'm not telling you to spend anything on this. I'm saying, well, if you find it for $1, maybe grab it, even if it's banged up. Just give it a read. Could be fun. Seeing Colonel John Jameson as Spider-Man, or Betty Brant as Spider-Girl. Who knows? Could be fun. Another one. That's 2. Let's go with another one. We got that Werewolf Spider-Man, which is also here in the back. I think we might have mentioned him last week when I was going through this. And I don't know if we're going to cover this one, but, well, this week we are. So, Werewolf Spider-Man here in the background. We can find that first appearance, I think, here in the Marvel Zombies Army of Darkness. This crossover between Ash Williams and the Marvel Zombies universe. Number 5. Pretty cool cover. Zombified Frank Miller Wolverine 1. I kind of dig it. But, again, don't go investing tons into these tiny cameos in a movie that also relate to a tiny cameo in a comic book, because this is all we're really talking about. Yeah, in a werewolf universe, amongst the other zombie universes and whatnot universes of the MCU, yeah, there's a werewolf Spidey back there. Yeah, that's really it. It's not a lot more than that. So keep that in mind before you go shelling out 15, $10 to $15 this thing's been selling for. I mean, it's kind of cool on its own, but just make sure if you are spending money, you're spending money for the reason of you want this comic for more than just that appearance, is what I'm saying. Buy it because you want to read it. Buy it because you want to collect it. Buy it because you want to have this set. Don't buy it because you think you're going to make money off of this character, because more often than not, you are not going to. So keep that out of your head. Don't let that to be your driving motivation, because if you're only in this to make money, you're going to have a hard time doing it. This is a fickle hobby. And if you're not having fun doing this, then don't do it. I don't know. That's just my opinion again. Available copies again, $10 to $20. Sure, if you want to spend $20 on this, I mean, spend your $10, $20 because you think this cover's awesome, because you think you need to have the end of this miniseries, but not because you think Spider-Wolf is the next big thing. That's just silly. Again, maybe I'm being too harsh. But I got one more for you. And that's just this armor. So I can't even say this is a different Spider-Man. I mean, in theory, most of these are not different Spider-Men. They're still mostly Peter Parker. Some are going to be Miles Morales. Some are just May Parkers. Different characters can be Spider people, I guess, in this universe crossover. But in this case of what we're looking at here, these two sitting here on the beam, it's just the Spider Armor MK2 Mark II, I guess, Spider Armor Mark II, which prominently featured on this Amazing Spider-Man 655. Pretty cool cover, though. I dig this. So for that alone, I would, Marcos Martin, underrated. I think that somebody else mentioned it, too, in my giveaway that we just had earlier. I forget who it was, but somebody mentioned Marcos Martin. I was like, I agree. On the list to do. So pretty cool cover. This thing does all right already. You can see here, $15, $10 to $15, really, it's been selling for. Available copies, $10 to $12. So not too bad if you can find it. So keep an eye out for it. Chances you might not find this one for $1 because people have been scooping it, but you might be able to find it. It is a Spidey book after all. And just another Spider character, just for fun. Again, this should be fun. Let's just have fun. And that's why I'm telling you, dig in the cheap boxes, see what you find, because that's the most, to me, that's the most fun. Yeah, anybody can go online and buy a big book and spend a lot of money, but it's that stuff you find when you're digging that really makes this hobby, to me, more than just dollars and cents, I guess. And that said, thanks for stopping by and checking this out. Hopefully you're still enjoying this as well as everything else here on the channel. We are wrapping up 2022 and getting ready to start 2023. And I want to make some tweaks, some changes to the channel and some of the things I'm doing. I'm still having fun doing this, but I have a lot more things I'd love to touch on that I just don't have enough time. So I'm going to have to pivot around and play with the schedule a little bit, just so I can keep making that content that I like making, and hopefully you guys like viewing it still. Let me know again in the comments. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel, but we will be back and keep this thing rolling as long as you guys keep watching. So with that all said, thank you. Check out the article tomorrow on comicbookinvest.com. I might put a couple little extra little notes of things that just didn't come off the dome while I just sat down to film this. And yeah, and with that, I'll see you soon with some more content. All right, later.